Hello, my name is Jared, and this is...
Corvin.
Welcome to Super Critical Movie Analysis and Review, where we bring our analysis and review to critical mass. Doing in-depth pulling apart and looking at all these movies for reality factors. From the scenes or plot, characters and their reactions, and special effects. What does that mean?
Let's find out.
It means we look and point out all these things in these shows and determine their realism or reality factor. And you can see what we're seeing and go, that makes sense, or I didn't see it like that, or why didn't they do it differently? We are starting off with In Color, as sort of a fall-themed video to analyze and review. Yes, we are looking at getting into a lot of others around the holiday season. Halloween for Halloween, holiday, and other zombie movies. We do want to get into a lot of other favorites like Terminator, Aliens, and Predator. You won't believe the things we got to say about the things we found in those shows. But you got to stay tuned. How do they stay tuned, Corvin?
Because you need to subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos.
That's absolutely excellent.
So let's get into it.
So this is the original film. Obviously, it's been colorized from 1968. So obviously, we're going to make some criticisms, but it's also based upon the culture of the day in 1968.
Honestly, to agree with you, that was cool. The night is like in red, and the rest of the words are in yellow.
I don't know what. Movie hasn't even started yet. I mean, that's it's not even really doing anything. I don't know where you're coming. Okay, now you just screwed it up. We gotta start over.
What? No, why?
Yeah, 5 minutes to put the wreath on the grave and 6 hours to drive back and forth. Mother wants to remember, so we trot 200 miles into the country and she stays at home.
Well, we're here, John, all right?
Ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen,
Judy.
we're coming back on the air after an interruption due to technical problems.
Okay, so in the 60s culture, they were all about the radio. And he doesn't wait to see what the technical issue was all about. Why they just got back on the air? Does it make any sense to you? Did he check any other radio stations?
Yeah, is that like the only radio station there?
Most people would, because he wouldn't have had a CD player, a tape deck, or an MP3 player, or anything like that. That's all they had was radio in the 60s like that. They did have, like, I don't know when the 8-track came out. But that's typically what you would have done, is it's a radio era. Why didn't he, okay, wouldn't you be like wanting to find out? Because if all the radio stations were done, it doesn't even show us that. It doesn't even explain whether it was just that one radio station. Did he even try to do any other ones? That doesn't really make any sense. I mean, he seemed to take notice, but then he just was kind of, I don't know. Because they said they drove out into the country for 3 hours. And 3 hours without radio. We don't know how long he was out without radio. But to me, that just doesn't make sense right here. Why he's going to discard it, you know? Just move past it and just not even think about it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Stop it! You're ignorant.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Yeah, I can't make a
Stop
criticism
it. You're
on this
acting like a
show
child.
without leaving this
They're coming
famous
for you.
line in here.
Look, there comes one of them now.
He'll hear you.
Here he comes now. I'm getting out of here.
John,
Okay, so The squat guy walking around the graveyard, that's kind of weird. He's like, we find out he is a zombie, but he doesn't seem to be concerned. And zombies are usually attracted by certain, is it something I can eat, by activity, things like that. And then later on, desperately tries to get to Barbara, and it just seems really inconsistent with these actions here. Of course, this is, you have to understand, I think I might have mentioned it before, but this is the first film that really sort of kicked off the genre of the whole zombie thing. This is like the kickoff movie for the zombie stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
You agree that it was the first one? How do you know?
Yes. What else
Okay.
other zombie movies have been made?
There's like dozens other ones. They were different about, they were like doing voodoo stuff, but this is like the first one where they really started eating people and stuff like that, trying to do them. But this guy just doesn't seem like he's a zombie. He doesn't have the characteristics that most people know of, and he almost seems more like a stalker. So I think I'm gonna comment on that some more later when we get into some other stuff. But it was just weird. He's just walking, you can't even tell. He's just wandering around, and then he just sort of attacks them. He doesn't seem like he's dedicated trying to get after them.
That's dorkish.
Dorkish? Okay. Let's go to the next part.
What in the world?
Do people really fight this way?
No.
Okay, some older movies, the way they were directed, maybe, dramatized.
Dorkish.
It was very dorkish. Granted, some people can't fight anyways, but still, that was pathetic. That was very pathetic. Okay, obviously, that's believable that in that scrimmage, falling down and smacking his head on there, that definitely could happen. But, that way. But what's he got against the woman? He's got a victim. Okay, so the zombie, we find out is a zombie. We don't know he's a zombie because you really can't tell. Honestly, look at the way that this guy is acting. Okay, and here in the short upcoming parts. At least knocked him out. He might be dead. We don't really know. We know he comes back dead later. But he's not acting like a zombie. He seems just like a crazed lunatic sort of stalker person. He's got a victim, something to eat. That's their instincts about, they got to eat somebody. They got to get after somebody. They got to get a victim. And he does not do that. He takes the dude out, and then he wants to continue after Barbara. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. You should have ate him.
He should have ate him. You wanted to see him get ate, man. You wanted him to get eaten up. Did you want Johnny? Did you want Johnny to make it?
That's what literally zombies do. If they see someone in their path, they go for them.
Uh huh. And
then
you want Johnny to die?
No.
You just said you wanted him to get ate.
No,
I don't know
said-
why he didn't eat him.
I think he's got more interest in the girl.
Okay, moving on. Okay. Like, oh my god, he got in? Well, he had a rock. Okay, after actively trying to use a door handle, problem-solving skills. Okay, now here's the thing. This is what I'm going back to what I said earlier. He is using problem-solving skills. Now, most zombies, yeah, depends on which movie you're watching. Everybody's got a different idea. There is no real set path of what a zombie can and can't do. He got in. He had a rock. What did you expect? Like, you just, oh, I'm in the car. I'm gonna stay here forever. Nothing's gonna happen. Like, oh my god, he found a rock! Well, of course, we can't. Okay. Now, after actively trying to use the door handle, he's using problem-solving skills. Okay, he that's problem-solving skills. He wants to get to this goal of trying to get to this person inside the car. So he tries to use the door handle. He knows what the door handle does. Okay, so he goes around, tries to use the other door handle. Problem-solving skills. Then he gets a rock. The rock works, opening up the window. Ah! I'm like, are you really that much? I know. I mean, it's like he got in. Okay, so this is okay. What she didn't expect him to get in with the rock?
Yeah.
Oh! The look on her face.
Being on the window.
Okay, so now, after actively trying to access the car by the door handles, okay, the one door handle, then he goes around. This is problem-solving skills. So at this point, he's using problem-solving skills we don't typically see in a zombie. After the door handles didn't work, he recognized they were locked, and he knew what the door handles did. But then he goes and gets a rock. And then he knows that the rock is going to help him to get in. So this zombie is I don't know, they refer to him both of them, whatever. But this is what's always bugged me about this part of it. I mean, it's interesting. It does add a dynamic to this show of really, really dramatic effect. I mean, it kind of does. This show is just out of nowhere, just all these things are falling apart. And that was just, like I said, it's a different kind of 60s era of how things kind of work out that way. But it's really inconsistent from, is he a zombie? Is he a stalker? What's his intentions with this? Is he going to try to assault her? Is he going to, kill or maim her? We don't even know. We don't even know he's a zombie. You don't know if he's going to try to eat her, because we're expecting that him being a zombie that's going to happen. But, if you look at it, you really can't quite tell. So it's just really kind of misleading, I think, but it has its value. So, moving forward. Hey, I want to tell you about your extended car warranty. Okay, hold the phone. Okay, no, oh my god. So, okay, that was a fairly good plan, and it's a good thing. Now, you have to understand this is no later than a 1968 Pontiac GTO is what I think it was. A 60s car does not have an ignition lockup, so she can put the key in, or she didn't have to have the key, because she doesn't have the keys. Johnny's got the keys. Johnny's got the keys. So, it doesn't have an ignition lockout, and it doesn't lock the steering column, the steering wheel, so you can take it out of gear, take it out of park at least, and then you can turn the steering wheel. You just can't start the car without the key. That's it. So she was able to roll the car. And, okay, so the car's rolling, somewhat easy turning the wheel after it is rolling, because you can still turn the wheel without the power steering. And it's fairly straight road in front of her. That's so stupid how she runs off the road and into a tree. She was able to come around the first curve and then veers off into the... I know she's maybe a little bit perturbed about...
Now we know why Johnny drove up there.
Yeah, we know why Johnny drove up there, because she can't even drive. She can't drive a parked car. But it's a good thing that, I mean, if she did have keys, she'd be running all over sorts of zombies and ghouls and stuff, which would be beneficial to them, but she would get, charged with, zombie manslaughter or something. I'm like, how do you just drive off the road like a straight road? Oh my gosh, a tree! It just jumped out of nowhere. Keep it on the road. Keep it on the road. You could. I mean, we don't know how far she could have gone down the road and got away from this dude. And it's just like she steered it off into a tree going 5 miles an hour. I mean, come on. That is just absolutely not believable. I mean, it just... If she's in a panic mode because she just saw her brother possibly died, she's about to be mugged or assaulted or whatever, and she would want to get out of there.
Yeah,
and
honestly, I don't think he is a zombie.
Okay. Whatever he is, he's after her. That's my point. We don't know, what we know from our third person perspective, we don't know what he is, but we know he's after her, and she knows that. And you'd think that she, in her desperation, would want to do a good job of trying to get away, which she really didn't do. Yeah. Moving forward. I'm safe now, just like I was in the car. I guess I won't try to do anything. Okay, so by this time, I don't know what her issue is, why she hadn't called out for help. She comes into the house, doesn't... Hey, is anybody home? Can you help me? I'm being chased by I don't know what. and she didn't run to the phone first. Now there's this zombie stalker throwing tantrum, grabs a cord, and it falls apart. Here's my first big criticism like this, because it was sort of just dangling up there, and at no point was there enough resistance or enough force to pull the phone cord in two pieces. He just flipped it around and it just broke. I mean, that's just not believable. Never realized that it's... I always thought it was like a clothesline or something, but then after watching through and reviewing it, it's the phone line. And did you also happen to notice when she was running, she got out of the car and she's running, but by the time she's entering the house, it was still, it was failing light. It was still sort of dusk, but now all of a sudden, when she's looking out the window after she went to this room, that room, and now it's just dark outside, like, how much time has passed that she still didn't use the phone? She still hasn't called out to anybody to see if she can help him. And it's just like, all of a sudden, it's just... She comes in there, oh, I must be safe, just like I was in the car. Okay, we gotta hold up right here. Now, this is another big criticism here. Okay, so there's already got to be incidences going on everywhere. Okay, the world's falling apart, zombies are happening, everything like this, right? Like there's a guy in the house that's been eaten, and there's people fled from there, and this is the first they are finding out of these things, both Barbara and Johnny. They didn't come across any other signs, especially with the radio and the phones out. They didn't suspect anything. Especially how quick the zombies started converging on the house. Okay, everything went from it's fine Sunday drive in the country for 3 hours, and they didn't see anything, and now all of a sudden we are surrounded out of nowhere. where did they all come from? Granted, it adds this movie suspense and drama, but this is not real world realistic. This is not real world realistic. They would have seen something. Like, they just, all of a sudden in the graveyard, they only see one, finally. I mean, they didn't see, all the other things that people have been dealing with have been going on. People are being eaten, being attacked, and all this stuff, and they didn't see anything. Does that make any sense? She was running in the field. Where are these other ones that just all of a sudden was on top of the house after a short time? Just came out of nowhere, and they're there at the house. Didn't she see them out in the field? She should have. As slow as they're sort of rummaging around and just mulling around, slowly walking. Do you think so? Do you think that would be realistic? If the whole world, what they're talking about, this many zombies that are out there, this house is already, it had an incident. She comes into a house that's already had zombies in it. And this is the first, she just got attacked in the graveyard. Now she's at the house and the whole world's got zombies. And they don't know nothing after driving for 3 hours. Look at how slow they go. That would have taken them how long to walk at that pace to get up to that house? She should have been running past them and seeing these things out in the field. She should be seeing them out there. They should have drove past them and seen them walking out there, past the road and seeing these things happening. Right? Okay, so let's. So here's one other thing before we move on. So plus these other zombies start showing up. How do they know? How does this guy know? He's getting ready to turn around to see what the commotion is. He hears some sound or is alerted to these other zombies walking up behind him. How does he know not to attack them? How does he know that they are zombies? Do they have like a certain smell? Do they have a certain like frequency? Do they give off something? How do they know each other from each other? From being able to attack a human that's alive? Is a body temperature thing? Because I can't really tell body temperature from somebody. I'm not a thermal camera.
Is it like the clothes? Because if you see on the guy, you can kind of see this like weird dirty-ish, like, that's like this weird tuxedo, dirty thing. Yeah. Is it because they can tell?
He came out of a cemetery. I'm pretty sure he was getting ready to be buried, and he probably climbed out. So that's probably it for that guy. If he's falling around, tumbling or something. But their skin does look a little bit different. I don't know if that has something to do with it.
Yeah, but one thing earlier, you could tell his skin was like ours. Yeah, and now look, his skin is now more pale. Yeah, when he tried to break in, his skin was like different.
Well, it's the lower light levels now. Their skin is still going to be the same. I don't know if they can just tell that their toxicity of them is just not edible. This movie was made in 1968, and the whole thing that reanimated these corpses was radiation from Venus, if I remember right. So it was like a satellite that was coming back. They blew it up and distributed it around in the globe or something. So anything that died became contaminated and came back. Do you have any insight why you think a zombie knows to not attack and eat another zombie, but they know how to eat people?
I get what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying?
This is the part that I do not want to see. I'm not looking up.
Okay, but you do know that's not real, right? It's not really a corpse?
Yeah, but it looks really creepy.
Okay, so what's up with the zombie corpse anyways? Because the one that's upstairs here, its eyes are popping out of its head. There's no nose, lips missing, and there's no blood except on the back. So, I can't remember if it was chewed off or blown off, if they like shot themselves if they got bit or something. I can't remember if this show ever covered that. But for the missing components, it doesn't look right. It's a little dry. I mean, I don't even know if it's got any skin or anything on its face. It's like eyeballs sort of popping out. I mean, I don't know if this is a skeleton that they just put clay on and some stuff, and some little kind of gooey stuff towards the back. But there's nothing on the front. So I don't know if it's been chewed up or whatever. I mean, it looks gruesome. Don't you think it looks gruesome? You obviously don't like it. It's probably, it is gruesome. It is absolutely gruesome looking.
Yeah, that's why I looked down.
You looked down. You thought it was so scary and gruesome. You didn't like it?
Yeah, but one thing for sure, it's not real. It's just a dummy.
But it's not realistic. It's really not that realistic at all. Because it's all these things, there should be all this blood stuff on here on the front. The eyeballs are still there, but no eyelids and no lips. And so, I don't know, this is like maybe a college or science department skeleton they borrowed and put some clay and some marbles on or something. So I'm glad that after over the years they have done better with making special effects. Because to a certain degree it sort of looks gruesome, but when you really look at it, you're like, that doesn't seem, for what we think happened to it, it does not look right. So, anyways.
All right. Don't worry about him. I can handle him. Probably be a lot more of them as soon as they find out about us.
Okay, again, when Ben shows up here now, the zombie is just more docile and not aggressive, trying to chase an attacker like he did before. Do you think that seems kind of inconsistent? Mm-hmm. It was kind of weird, right? I mean, if he was so desperately where he didn't eat her brother after he killed him or knocked him out before and was so desperate to just chase after her, okay, now is he tired or something? He's just not doing anything anymore. So that's just, okay. The zombie knows she's in there, but he's got a target, and usually they just keep attacking, but now he's not. He's just sort of rummaging around with the other zombies that he knows are zombies now too. So, and it was a good thing that he did show up, because after she saw the corpse, she was obviously completely hysterical, which people of that era, ladies, had a more way of probably being hysterical, that mindset. You know, women are women, men are men that way, and men or women just leaned on more of the strength of the men, and I guess, you know, just, but then she could see that's the way she'd act. She just, you know, well, most women are that way at all, and some men too. I mean, it's difficult to see a chewed up corpse like that, and she certainly got hysterical and ran out, and I guess whatever, she was just gonna run right under the zombies and get ate up herself, and so it kind of, I guess, saved her, so he came there just in time. But then Ben says, don't worry about them, I can handle them. But I'm not so sure about it. It got her brother. But, of course, the way, like I said, the way he fights, he was kind of, maybe he's a wuss or something. What do you think? The brother kind of fought kind of weird, didn't he?
Yeah, very, very dorkish.
Yeah, very dorkish. Okay. So, let's move forward.
We can try to get out of here if we can get some gas. Is there a key?
Oh, okay, but I forgot to make this other point. I wanted to... Here's some other questions. Now, okay, there's going to be a lot more as soon as they find out we're in here. Okay, how? The zombies going to cell phone their mates? Send vibes? This is a rural farmhouse. How would they know to come looking for them? Wouldn't they want to stay where they hear activity? You know, if they're out there by the main road. If they're out by the main road that they're already attacking cars going by, why would they not want to stay there? He also came looking for gas. Shouldn't he try to be looking for gas at another gas station that's probably not being attacked?
Yeah.
And how would he know that there would be gas out in just some rural farm thing? I mean, maybe he could think that there'd be gas cans or something. So him coming out here doesn't necessarily make much sense. I mean, I guess it kind of does if he wants to get off the main road where all the zombies are. And I guess he kind of could have let him there, but if there was that many cars going back and forth doing stuff, there'd probably still be more activity on the main road that they would, you know, in more populated areas where people are becoming zombies, that they'd want to stay there at. So, Yeah, him trying to find gas there wasn't a certain thing, but I guess farm tractors and stuff might have gas cans or something, but I don't know. It just didn't seem to be the necessarily best choice, but maybe it is. Okay, now we have dripping blood. Now we have dripping blood after we didn't have no blood on its face. Now we got a ton of blood. But it does make you think, okay, we don't know if this person's been just... Because, yeah, a head wound can bleed kind of a lot. So if it did kind of chew off its face and stuff, yeah, they can kind of bleed a lot for what the small things that you get injured with. But overall, the whole gallons of blood from just a missing face isn't going to happen. But I didn't think of this before. Have you thought that even with that corpse's face being chewed off, the brain is not destroyed? You have to destroy the brain to kill a zombie. That corpse could still actually get up and come attack them. Did you think of that? I just thought about that. It's got a chewed off face. That doesn't all mean anything. It could still come after him. I don't know what it's actually died from.
What's happening?
That's kind of that hysteria and shock stuff I was talking about. What's happening? Can't you tell by now?
Hold the phone.
2 of them.
Wasn't there 3 of them? What happened to the other one?
There are 2 of them out there. Have you seen
They're
any more
around there
here?
somewhere.
I can take care of those 2.
Okay, again with the rocks. They're afraid of light. They think it's fire. They don't try to find a key or use the door to come after people. They just... It's just really weird trying to figure out these motives of these zombies. They do some things and then they don't do the same thing again later on. Get him, Dwayne! Oh, no, it's Ben, right? It's Ben. I think maybe the actor's name is Dwayne. So he knew how to kill him right here with the injury to his forehead to kill him, but he seems to not consistently do that. He misses with the gun quite a bit later on. But spoiler alert, I gave some of it away. What? He pokes a zombie in the bathroom with the dude with the bathrobe in the face as he tries to get in, and he holds his face. Does that zombie feel pain? He poked him in the face with the tire iron. Does he feel pain? He was holding his face. Did you see the zombie's eyeballs move? Look at it. Did you see him move?
Yeah.
I think the actor kind of screwed up. But you can see him move. But honestly, you're thinking it's dead. And even though he zooms in and he moves his eyes, it makes it look way creepy. That was creepy. You're like, oh, is he dead? Oh, no! Town meeting. See, like they said, how do they know to show up? Apparently that zombie is very flammable. He lights the zombie on fire with a match. I don't remember seeing him spray any lighter fluid on him or anything. Maybe that's what the other zombies are afraid of. Maybe they're really flammable. And it stinks when they burn. Did you see him spray anything on him? He just got... That thing caught on fire like that and he didn't spray anything on him. When you get into a house, what are you supposed to do if zombies are coming?
Turn on the lights.
Turn on the lights so they know you're there? Aren't you supposed to board the windows? Don't you want to block him from
Why
coming?
are you touching the end of the knife? Do not do that.
She's just fidgeting. Leave her be. She's in hysteria and mode with shock. She's just. She watched her brother die in her face.
Something about the fireplace. Something we can nail this place up.
Look, I know you're afraid. I'm afraid too. But we have to try to board the house up again.
She's not a very good help. That's when she comes back as a couple of splinters of firewood. She thinks that's gonna block the door. She's about as worthless help as anybody can be. I guess she's gonna kind of help hold the door.
There, this room looks pretty secure. If we have to, we can run in here and board up the doors. Won't be long for those things to be back pounding their way in here. They're afraid now.
Okay, so he says they can run in there if they need to, but how many more are they really expecting? Do they think this is more than a few people, like drink out of a poison well or something? They've never dealt with anything like this before, and do they even think this is like some sort of a global event? I mean, how does he know? Like, it could just be a few people, like, have some local rabies or something. I don't understand why. Let's just board this place up. We have no idea why. You know, I mean, this was 1968, sure, but this wasn't, thought of yet. Everybody now, viewers now know, oh, yeah, this is a zombie apocalypse. It has all the telltale signs, but, I mean, if you was in the movie, then obviously you wouldn't, even on a modern movie. It's just... he's going through all these different motions, and it's just, there's a few people outside. But does he really think this is more than just a local pandemic type of thing?
They're afraid of fire. I found that out. You know a place back down the road called Beekman's? Beekman's Diner? Anyhow, that's where I found that truck I have out there. There's a radio in the truck. I jumped in to listen to it when a big gasoline truck came screaming right across the road. But there must have been 10, 15 of those things chasing after it.
Well, he went to go listen to the radio,
grabbing and holding on.
Don't know what the radio said.
Now, I didn't see them at first.
Did they say it was a global
I
pandemic?
could just see that the truck was moving in a funny way. Those things were catching up to it. The truck went right across the road. Slammed on my brakes to keep from hitting it myself. It went right through the guardrail. I guess the driver must have cut off the road into that gas station by Beekman's Diner. It went right through the billboard, ripped over a gas pump, and never stopped moving. By now, it's like a moving bonfire. Didn't know if the truck was going to explode or what.
Do not do it.
Still, you're the man. Screaming. This thing is just backing away from it. I looked back at the diner to see if there was anyone there who could help me. It was when I noticed that the entire place had been encircled. Wasn't a sign of life left except...
Okay, this story, oh my god! Okay, great, it's a whole story about fire. Zombies are afraid of fire. But this story is, like, ridiculously unbelievable. So, okay, so he goes into the story of his first experience where he found out they were afraid of fire. But, sorry, first he says that he was on foot, okay, that became surrounded in 10-15 chasing the gas truck. There's 10-15 zombies chasing the gas truck. As he said, he found the truck there and got into it and listened to the radio, but for what purpose? He doesn't say if he's had any knowledge of the zombies and been dealing with them, if he even had a car. Okay, and also, why didn't he go into the diner looking for help or anyone who knew what was going on in this case. So he says this big gas truck came screaming by, but how could the zombies be catching it at not even a half a mile an hour? They just mull around. Okay, if the guy's driving the truck, do you think he could just accelerate past them?
Yeah.
Did you see how slow they are? The guy's in the gas truck and these zombies are catching him?
Yeah, they made it to look more dramatic and suspenseful.
Okay, because we're talking about one of our reality factors. Okay, so so they just mull around a half a mile an hour, but then he said he hit his brakes to avoid hitting it. In his parked car, listening to the radio for keys that he didn't have to. Maybe the keys was left in it, but still, he said he went in there, was sitting in the car, listening to the radio. He's sitting in the car listening to the radio. How did he almost hit a car, this semi truck, pulling gas, if he's in there parked? How does he hit it almost? He had to swerve to hit it in a parked car. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, that's a reality factor.
Okay. Okay, so what was he swerving around, and how could he not outrun them if he's driving, screaming by? How could they be catching up to the truck? You know, guardrails usually protects drop-offs, and I guess it could be a ditch, but if it went down an embankment across the road, how could he hear the guy screaming, and for what purpose? Couldn't he just get out and run if he just drove the truck in a ditch? If it was on that much fire for them to back away from it, from the gas truck, I doubt you could even hear him at all, depending. It could be a quick death. I mean, the roar of the gas in a whole gas truck, thousands of gallons, and, you know, like I said, it could be just a quick death, too. So, how did you not notice all these people around that encircled the diner is another thing. So that doesn't make sense either. He just wandering around down the road like a hitchhiker or something? Where's his car? How did he end up there? So I have all these different questions. Does that make sense? How did he end up here? Okay, without him being noticed, why would he still be encircling the diner if there wasn't anybody, you know, in it? You know, 50, 60 of them, again, how did he go unnoticed from then, and why didn't they notice him? You know, he says that, those things. Later on, he says the same thing to somebody, the other part in.
Now wait a minute. You just got finished saying you couldn't hear from down there. Now you say it sounded like the place was being ripped apart. It would be nice if you get your story straight, man.
He wants to tell us this story, but look what he says to this other guy. It'd be nice if you get your story straight, man.
I think you should just calm down.
There's gonna be no way she's gonna calm down.
Johnny, help me! Oh, help me!
There's gonna be no way she's gonna calm down. She's in full hysteria mode.
He ran and he fought this man.
So he just tells her to stay calm. He give us his whole spiel. I don't think he wants to listen to her story. Yeah, his story was fairly unbelievable, like I said. But she's just trying to vent. She's gone through quite an ordeal. She's trying to get it off her chest.
Please! We have got to go get Johnny! Please help me! Please!
Don't you know what's going on out there? This is no Sunday school picnic.
Don't you understand? My brother is alone!
Your brother is dead.
No! My brother is not dead! Oh.
Okay, so maybe he knew she was going to freak out because this hysteria like this with her in shock, right? So maybe he knew she was going to act that way, want to try to go get her brother or something, and try to just head out the door. Maybe he kind of had an inclination of it. I mean, this is certainly a 60s type of culture and with more chivalry, and you don't hit a woman. But he didn't just try to stop her from slapping him back. He punched her, knocked her out. Wow.
Well, Lol, she got punched.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I get it. He thinks that they're afraid of fire, but when he's burning a few things here and there, kind of keeps them away. But when it stops burning, they've already been drawn in. Even though they're afraid of fire, they're going to be curious of it, I think. And then it'll draw them in because they think there's something of interest there. And maybe that's what the nailing is sort of done too. But, you know, if they were trying to be super quiet, that might have been the best. They just try to, you know, if they sort of forget what they're trying to be, the ones that are there trying to be for, because if they just be quiet, maybe they think that they're gone too. So he's been nailing and burning things, and it's just, I'm not sure if that was the best strategy. He's put some stuff out there to keep them off. They're not even doing anything. Does he really need to burn that fire right there? Oh, they're afraid of fire. I'm going to burn a couch out right off the porch. They were mulling around the truck. They were not banging on the windows.
It wasn't a couch. It was like a small.
Love seat. I know. It's a recliner chair, whatever. Okay, armchair, whatever they call them. Okay.
Don't shoot. We're from town. A radio.
County, Pennsylvania. The Butler County Sheriff has verified that reports of murder victims being partially eaten by their
Okay,
slayers.
so Barbara listened to the radio for a little bit too, but then this all would show that the radio's been going on for a while.
That's the cellar. It's the safest place.
You mean you didn't hear the racket we were making up here?
How are we supposed to know what was going on? Could have been those things for all we knew.
That girl was screaming. Sure, you might.
And how, okay, so I'm still asking, how would Barbara and her brother still didn't know what was going on? How would they still not know? I mean, some of the things that the radio is starting to explain now, how would they still not know? They should have come across some things they should have still known somehow that things were going on.
Sure, you must know what a girl's screaming sounds like. Those things don't make any noise. Anybody would know somebody's been needing help.
Look, it's kind of hard to hear what's going on down there. We thought we could hear screams, but for all we knew, that could have meant those things were in the house afterward.
And you wouldn't come up and help.
Well, if there were more, that racket sounded like the place was being ripped apart. How were we supposed to know what was going on?
Now, wait a minute. You just got finished saying you couldn't hear from down there. Now you say it sounded like the place was being ripped apart. It would be nice if you get your story straight, man.
All right, now you tell me.
Be nice to get your story straight. There we are.
Yeah, that would be my new line.
And you're telling us we gotta risk our lives just because somebody might need help, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, why don't we settle this? Mister, we came up. Okay, we're here. Now I suggest we all go back downstairs before any of those things find out we're in here. And I'm telling you, those things turned over our car. We were damn lucky to get away at all. Now you tell me those things can't get through this lousy pile of wood? His wife and kids downstairs.
This is
Kids are.
Well, I still think we're better off up here.
You could strengthen everything up, Mr. Cooper.
With all of us working, we can fix this place up in no time. We have everything we need up here.
And all that stuff downstairs for us. Man, you're really crazy. You know that?
Okay, now, this is absolutely off the chart ridiculous. Okay, so these people finally emerge out of the basement. They've been down here hiding this whole time. We're gonna risk our necks. Okay, it's been calm and quiet, and there's been nothing around for how long? Okay, and they, from whatever he's trying to say. Okay, so they had an incident, and it had to have been taken a while, because like I said, we're following the story with Barbara, and it was light then, and then it got dark, and Ben showed up, and they've been doing this stuff. So this had been earlier in the day. They've been down there for like probably 6 hours or something, maybe. They've been down there half the day. I mean, okay, so let me get into this. So it had taken a while ago for a group of them to have turned over their car. Now, here's a different question beyond the reactions of these people. So why would the zombies even turn over their car and not find a rock? They turned over their car. So you're talking about 5 zombies working together with all their strength to turn over their car. Does that make sense? I'm not finding that believable. I mean, yeah, if they're all trying to just kind of push and do this type of stuff, but that's just kind of how zombies are kind of patting and banging and doing this stuff. They're not reaching from underneath in unison to be able to flip over the car. So I don't even buy that to be a believable thing. I mean, if there was like hundreds of them and they're all just really pushing that much, that could be like maybe. But why would they even think to do that to not go for the rock? I don't understand it. Why do they try to break out the window?
Yeah, like the first zombie we saw did with Barbara.
Okay, so for them to make it to this farmhouse, and other incidents already happened in the farmhouse before they even got there. So how does some people not know? It seems like apocalypse started early Sunday morning, maybe Saturday night, and they drove for hours and still didn't come across anything. These other clowns just run to some stranger's basement and hide. Okay, so all this crazy things are sort of going on, and they come across a patch of them, and they deal with the car issue. But they run off the beaten path for a mile. And they, did they even listen to the radio at that time? Could have just been a few crazy people that they ran into. I mean, they really don't even know what's going on. This is in early stages. They got attacked by a few people in a car, turned over their car. They could have been like just hooligans or something for all they know. And, or rabid people. Did they know what was going on the radio? It seems like they don't know. Okay, so the phone would have been working at this point. Okay, because we saw the phone line getting ripped out. The phone line would have been working when they got there, and this is what they chose to do. The car got overturned. They didn't go find help for some other place. They ran a mile away from wherever, found a house, and went and hid in the cellar. Didn't try to call somebody. Okay. Not even try to find another car out there where it was peaceful away from the troubles. For several hours, even trying to get medical attention for their daughter. They didn't even try to close and lock the doors to the house. They didn't try to look. Okay, but they did get a few things. They rigged up the door into the cellar to be able to make it to lock. And see, from what I understood, is that Judy and Tom, right? The younger gentleman. So they came to this house separately. They were there, and then this other group.
Sure it's actually
Judy and Tom. It's Tom and Judy. Those are the younger couple. They were going up to someplace. To explain it later.
Oh, I forgot his name. I didn't know it was Tom.
Okay. So they run into some issues, showed up at the house, and I think they might have already been there, but then Cooper and his family showed up. Okay, so they've been here for half a day. They just kind of rig up a little bit of stuff into the basement. None of them for 6 hours have tried to use the phone. Tried to find help, tried to find out what's going on, to grab a radio. They grabbed enough things to rig it up and lock the door into the cellar and go down there and hide for half a day. When they had a few incidences here and there, it's been quiet for half a day. And they have not tried to get help, tried to call in this, try to figure out anything. This doesn't make any sense. Even in a zombie apocalypse, even if it was real, why would you do this? I mean, at this point, they don't know it's a zombie apocalypse. They've been hiding down in the basement without a radio. They haven't tried to make a phone call. They haven't done anything. This is about the biggest bunch of ridiculous kind of stuff I'd ever think could happen. Okay, so as I was stating, look at all the factors. So, okay, whatever's going to happen in the world, I mean, it's disease, radiation, any of these types of things. Your car gets attacked, which that doesn't make sense. They overturn it, the daughter gets bit on the arm or something like this. But then two of them, they just go, two different groups of people. Judy and Tom run to this house because they kind of knew about the house. And then Cooper's family runs over here. And why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just, hey, she needs medical attention, you're doing this stuff. Each one of them met up at the house, and they just go kind of board up the house a little bit. And they board up the house and just hide in the basement without trying to seek medical attention, without trying to find out what's going on and seek other people. would you go do that? Go run off to some stranger's basement and hide when you really don't even know what's going on?
No. I just call for help. Or if that was my only choice, or just to run away, I'd immediately use the phone. I'd be like dialing 911.
Okay, well they didn't even do any of that. They didn't even lock because Barbara was able to get right into the house. The doors to the house were not even locked. Barbara was able to come right in. So if they were going to go hide in the cellar, they didn't even lock the doors to the house. That is about the biggest bunch of ridiculous. I don't buy any of that to be believable. That's the biggest bunch of idiocy, of hysteria, even of just illogical.
Now, if you're going down the cellar, get. The man's insane. He's insane. We've got to have food down there. We've got a right.
It's your house.
We've got a right.
You going down there with him?
Well,
Yes.
Okay, so now this goes back to my other point. We gotta have food. We gotta have food. You had all day to grab some food and take it down there with you. It doesn't make any sense. We gotta have food. Well, if you're worried about being locked into the cellar, then what are you gonna come up for if they got in? That's the biggest illogical argument I've ever heard. Okay, but so some of these windows he wouldn't even have to worry about anyways. He's paranoid, delusional about the reality factors of what could really happen. Okay, because some of these are just too high. The one he just shot, okay, he shot out the window because they reached through there and then he shot at him and stuff like that. Those windows are like chest high. So the zombies are not going to climb in there. All they can do is sort of reach in. They can sort of build that up, but those are not the main ones that they'd have to do. I don't see the zombies boosting each other up after they broke all this stuff out of the way to get in. So for him to make that argument is really,
Dumb.
yeah,
Paranoid.
it's there's no substance to it. Okay.
That's a very idiotic conversation. Or yeah, isn't that very idiotic?
He's beyond paranoid delusion. He is like in this psychosis thing. So, I mean, we're just finding out what kind of a fanatical person that Mr. Cooper is. I mean, he's so upset he won't absolutely listen to him and lets him be the domineering boss. Ben's mistake.
Oh. Ah! Help! Why? Why?
Okay, so anyways,
Oh my God.
do you think this? Okay, so Mr. Cooper's gonna go back into the basement,
Outside.
and we realize what kind of a problem that Mr. Cooper is going to be.
Outside.
Do you think it's a mistake? Do you think it's a mistake that when Mr. Cooper goes downstairs that Ben doesn't board up the door and lock him downstairs? I think he should have locked him downstairs. So that I think that'd be really funny. They all might have made it then. Oh no! Spoiler alert! You should have already probably watched this show if you're beforehand.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, but with that same logic, they could have ripped the stairs up. Okay, they could have ripped out the stairs and used the boards for reinforcing the windows and made an access made by rope. Right? I mean, think about that. That'd be kind of cool if you ripped up the stairs where the zombies can't even walk up there. So if they had to escape up out there, then they could actually still have access because they could go out a window or something like that. Because, well, that's a little bit later on, I believe. Mr. Cooper was doing access through the upstairs window. But they could have ripped out the staircase, used the boards for reinforcing stuff, and then even if they did get in, they wouldn't have a staircase. They could have made a different, like, rope access or something maybe. But anyways, that's just, we're at the point of finding out the dynamic in this house. They all could have survived, but you have hysteria, psychosis, and they're not working together. And that was really the big killer of them all. It was completely manageable. The zombies are not that fast. They're not that strong. And they should have been out here clearing them out. I mean, honestly, I would have been. I mean, before they kept building up and building up, I'd have kept killing them. I'd go out there and kill this one, kill this one, kill this one. I don't know if I'd want to really do that in the dark, but I don't know. When they come up to the windows at chest high,
use a machine gun because it goes so.
They don't have a machine gun. They didn't even think they had one gun. They only just barely found that rifle. So, but anyways, it's this mismanagement of headbutting type of stuff is what really caused them all to go out that way. So, anyways, moving forward.
Moving forward.
He's got such delusions of grandeur.
That's important, isn't it?
What?
To be right, everybody else to be wrong.
What do you mean by that?
See, even his wife is calling him out on this. She knows how important it is for him to be right about everything, even when he's wrong. He's so egotistical. Ends up being the demise of everybody. It does.
Radio?
Radio upstairs. I heard a news for it.
There's a radio upstairs and you boarded us in down here?
I know what I'm doing.
What did it say?
Some sense of reason, but he's got to be the blind leader that sinks the ship
Keep the
on.
boards off that door.
No sense of reason with him.
I think he smokes way too many cigarettes.
Well, he's
We may
not,
not enjoy living together.
He acts like he's drunk.
no, he doesn't act like he's drunk. He's not getting his way. He's such a control freak that he can't never be wrong about anything. He's got to be the boss. He's got to be the one who's got the answers and everything. And it's just so ridiculous at the point of just his delusions of grandeur. He's gone. Psychosis, paranoid, almost paranoid schizophrenic, really. Paranoid delusion. Really sad because this was a completely survivable situation for them all. And this conflict of not being able to resolve working with each other was really the problem. That's really what this show is about, not the zombies.
Her brother was killed.
I don't think he even cares. Look at his face. He should run his mouth.
Talk about these windows. I can't see a damn thing. There could be 15 million of those things out there. That's how much good these windows are.
Why don't you do something to help somebody?
You know, she really calls it right. I mean, the window is so many weak spots, but he can't see anything. Well, if you had it so blocked off good, then you wouldn't be able to see anything. So it's like all he wants to do is complain without actually making any result. He is ridiculously obnoxious. What do you think about him? He's really annoying, isn't he?
Paranoid.
Paranoid, delusional. Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to come back to that here in a little bit. Because he's freaking out over this, but let's see what he kind of does a little bit later. It's really interesting. We have a lot of questions about how the recently dead are returning to life from radiation. Does that really make them contagious if they bite someone then? So, I mean, okay, I get it. It's probably not some sort of regular radiation like what we think from, you know, plutonium or uranium or some sort of nuclear fuel. It's got to be some other kind of radiation, I guess. Okay, so, but like I said, if it mutated somebody and they died and this radiation was on them and they could come back, it would respawn to make their brain jump around and do what a zombie does. But would that really kill somebody and make them contagious so that if they bit somebody that they would die and come back from that? I'm not sure if I would agree with that part.
Yeah, but the lady upstairs, when she died,
Who?
the lady upstairs, she either killed herself, blown off her head, who knows?
Yeah, well, we don't know. She's got her face munched off at least. She certainly died. She could possibly have come back, but see, that's another inconsistency. Everybody in the world is being exposed to this radiation because they blew up this. What did he say? It was the probe or whatever. It blew up, shot up over the planet or over our planet, and on its way coming back in. So all this radiation got scattered everywhere. So yeah, and so this corpse in the upstairs would have been saturated with it just like everybody else. And it makes you wonder.
are coming back to life.
It's bringing people back to life, but what is it doing to the living people? Is it affecting them somehow? I don't know. Okay. And how did there get to be such widespread so fast anyways? I mean, it doesn't seem like they could spread it that fast. They don't move fast enough to spread it. The zombies and all this other kind of stuff, I guess. This does kind of, it does kind of remind me of the comet from Maximum Overdrive. When they went through the same kind of a radiation, but it was a tailed comet. So, well, I'm sure it's one of my all-time favorite shows because I'm just kind of a gearhead. So we'll probably come back to that show. But the story is kind of parallel, though, you know. As both Romero and Stephen King have worked together on Creepshow, probably other things and stuff too. That's one I know of. But this does give them an out. This does give an end in sight. When the radiation wears off, there's hope that as they work for rounding them up at the end also. I mean, at the end they're doing some other different things. Oh my gosh, a spoiler alert! Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how, if the radiation has kind of got spread around, if it can kind of get cleaned up, or if it only gets saturated into things, they remove those if it can sort of stop happening. But they're really slow walkers, so eventually they can round them up. But it is an interesting concept because what's the name of the title?
Night of the Living Dead.
Okay, so it is saying it's just for a night? I mean, I guess it could be continuing on, but they spread up the radiation, caused mutation with corpses, and then they're rounding them up towards the end. Is it just going to be for one night? Did they take care of everything afterwards? There's not really a sequel to this one. Dawn of the Dead, 1978 movie, is actually what we're going to be doing next, I believe. So, some people said, well, it is technically a sequel. Romero did, but it's not exactly like picture place after it or anything. So, not that I know of. We're not super involved in delving into the research aspect. We are criticizing the reality factors to these shows, the script, the reactions, and how the characters respond to things. So. But that's kind of how I feel about the whole radiation factor.
Later this afternoon.
Your thoughts? None? You just want to get to shooting the zombies?
Yeah.
Let's bring it on.
You know this area. You from around here?
Judy and I are both from around here. We were on our way up to the lake to go swimming. And Judy had a radio, and we'd heard the first reports about this. So we knew the old house was here, and we came in and found the lady upstairs dead. Then these other people came. We went down into the basement and put a bar across the door, and it is pretty strong.
If I could only call the folks. They're going to be so worried about us.
Everything will be all right. As soon as we get to Willard, we'll call them. They might even be there.
I know. Tom.
Oh, okay, now I gotta stop right there. So they want to devise this plan after listening to the radio to make it to Willard. Great, that's fine. Not sure even if they made it a while ago, the girl could even be saved with medical attention. It's been 6 hours probably. So, but I don't know. Like we said, we don't know if she's contagious or not, but obviously she's been made ill and is gonna probably get sick and die. But at this point, we don't know if she would even be able to be saved. Tom says that Judy had a radio and heard the report on the way to the lake, and they came into the house. Where's their car? They were out and about, right? They're on the way to the lake. How were they going to the lake? She had a radio. Okay? I presume that they had a car, because if it was 10 miles to the lake, why would you go in anything other than a car? Okay, so the lake sounds some distance of how they were traveling there. Why are they not thinking of that and just the truck? Okay, Tom says they need to go because when he called on the phone, just a recorded message. When did that happen? They ran right into the cellar, and the first zombie ripped out the phone line. So, did they make a phone call when they first got there? It sounds like he tried to get on the phone as they're up here, and now it's just a recorded message. I'm like, the phone line was ripped out because the first zombie done it, because she tried. And now he's sitting there saying it's a recorded message. Obviously, we have a conflict here of inconsistency.
That's a reality factor.
No, that's not real. Well, yes, I guess kind of is. Not kind of what we're looking for, but it's I guess for realism. Where's the lady's car that's dead upstairs? Don't they have other cars and stuff here? Where's these other vehicles that are around? I mean, I understand that Mr. Cooper's family lost their car, and that's why they got there, because they ran down the rural road for a mile to get away from it instead of finding something else. But where's these guys' vehicle? Where's the person's vehicle that lives in there? Where's the next house is over vehicle? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that one would maybe be harder there, to try to go to a different house, not know where the keys are, things like that. But there's a couple other vehicles that it seems like there should be something accounted for that are not there. So, what do you think about that? Do you think that Tom and Judy should have had a car, and the lady that's upstairs that's dead, where's her car? There should be other cars there, right? Okay, so that is... Do you want to call that a reality factor?
Yeah.
That's a reality factor problem!
You ready upstairs?
Yeah.
Okay, toss him!
They should have already been gone before they'd not be panicking when they was right on top of them or anything. Now they're getting themselves all worked up.
This key won't work. What's the noise? Gotta get away from the pump.
We've both been captured higher now.
My reality factor meter's pegging right now. Bing, 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 bing.
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, we forgot to shoot the zombies when they come for the car. Uh-oh, where's your gun? Let's get out of here.
I saw a zombie. People gone. There's 2 people.
Oh, here they come. Here they come. Get him. Get him. Okay, we gotta hold the phone. Gotta stop. Okay, so hold up right here. So now the Molotov cocktail sings is okay, but I would think that you wouldn't want to, if you had the chance, that you'd want to be thinning them out and not having somebody to deal with, so that if he was throwing these Molotov cocktails, if he should be not just trying to back them away, he should be trying to throw it right on them and to kill them. You know, just back them away so that when the fires burn down, you can come back in and try to attack the truck. So that would, I think, been a better strategy. I mean, he kind of got some of them a little bit and everything, but plus this being kind of a rural area with the lighting and everything like this with their plan, it would have certainly been more prudent to probably do it in daylight. because it's like they got busted out headlights on the car, and he's got one little hand torch. So this is not really the best kind of thing to be doing. And I get it. Maybe they're trying to do it for the benefit of the child that's gotten bit, but this is just a whole bunch of stuff. They're doing this big rush type of thing. They didn't have the best of weapons to really find this with, and they're in this like panic mode, and they're moving really slow, so it makes them more panicky. Instead of rushing through there, putting the fire right on the zombies, jump in the truck and let's go, they're sitting there. The more you sit there, the closer they get. That's making them more anxious. Do you think that was they didn't handle it the best? Right? And then Judy comes out here, so that added a whole nother problem with it. So you also have Ben, and like I said, they didn't come up with the best weapons. They got the one gun. They didn't even have like other things for the other people to fight off with. What if he runs out of bullets too? So they should have known that killing them was with the tire iron and shooting them in the head is the only way to kill them. He's back to shooting them in the body again. Okay, they get over there and they have the wrong key. I guess that was no big deal. They still dealt with it, but this was part of the, like I said, he yelled at the girl. She decides to come out of here. This. I guess she wanted to go and die with him. If he was going to die, she wanted to be with him when he died. Oh, I just want to go with him. Judy, she just ran out there. It was compromising, causing more problems for everybody. Don't you think? She should have stayed back. I know she was nervous and didn't want him to go out there in a dangerous situation, but even with that, okay, that was still all fine. Don't you think? Okay, they were going to manage. That was fine, right? Don't you think so? They could have still handled it, right? So they get to the pump. He shoots the pump off, but this is
the dumbest idea.
No, it's fine. They need gas in the car, but he doesn't. Everybody knows you keep everything from an open flame. He should have put the thing 20 feet away. In this big, huge, panicky moment, he starts spraying gas everywhere, which really wasn't that big of a spill. Ben was handling it fine. He was trying to smother the fire. There was a little bit on there. So they move the vehicle away. And, okay, so this is my next point. They move the vehicle away, and in such movies, he came in there with an empty gas tank. The gas tank was empty. Okay, so what actually exploded? Okay, gas doesn't explode like that. As you see, they caught it on fire. They sprayed some of the gas, and it got into contact with the open flame, and it started burning. So it's kind of a little bit on the ground and up on there. So that's what gas does. Okay, so, and it would just continue to be burn as it was kind of pouring out. So yeah, that was not realistic. I mean, yeah, there's some sort of vapors and stuff, and probably a little more vapors than a gas. The gas tank normally would have had being full because it would be full of vapors instead of full of liquid, because the liquid does not burn. It is the vapor that burns in gasoline. So even a flashover fire may not have killed them, and they still possibly could have survived. So if something boiled up and hot from enough heat, it would kind of pop out and kind of spray gas. And yeah, that can cause some issues, but not a concussive type of an explosion like we saw here. This is dramatic effect and everything. So, I mean, even with well, I don't even know. I'm not even sure where the gas tank was located in this truck. But that just a little bit of fire on the side like that, that is just, some of those old trucks had a...
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was really unbelievable. The gas tank may have been inside the cab with him. It may have. Because some of these older trucks like that, they did have some gas cans. The gas tanks were this small sliver thing that was like a little spout on the outside, but it went right behind the seat of the truck. I'm not sure if this truck did have it or not. I have to go back and actually look. And, well, if that kind of popped inside the cab, maybe, but it's still, like I said, it wouldn't have been a concussive force like this. and they wouldn't have died. I mean, it could if it did pop and sprayed out some gas, it could have been on fire, rolled on the ground, and they probably would have been okay. So they died from this, and it was just in this circumstance like this. It was just this big, huge explosion that was just not realistic for what they're trying to tell us in the story. All right, so let's move on to the next point. I'm gonna get the things because it's too permanent. Shoot him in the head! Don't forget to shoot him in the head! Bam! Can he club him too? He's just like, here, I gotta fire! Smack him in the head! Wouldn't you be doing that? You come in close proximity, you got the torch, bash him in the head though too. Come in! Cooper! Cooper! Yeah. Well, they're actors, so it's...
I dragged you out there and feed you those things.
Look at the look on his face. Okay, so Mr. Cooper should have heard the shots and knew Ben was alive. Okay, right? So, but he acted like a coward and didn't open the door. He hesitated and didn't come to help him board up the door. I don't think Ben necessarily needed to punch him. You should have acknowledged he did come and help at least, but and try to have good group morale, and figure out how to work with his compromising cowardice. I don't know. He just this big coward that didn't, handle the situation right. But then obviously Ben didn't handle it right either. What do you think about that? Ben is mad. He had to break the door down to get back in. And he didn't come open the door, and I could see where Ben would be really mad, but he got back in and they needed to board the door back up, but he did kind of afterwards. But yeah, I guess he probably did know that Ben was still alive, and he just didn't want to have to deal with that. He was just so upset about Tom and Judy that he just froze, I guess. What's your thought on that?
That was so dumb. So dumb of him.
So dumb.
Yeah.
That he wouldn't open the door back up?
Yeah.
Do you think Mr. Cooper wanted to try to keep him out on purpose?
Probably. Probably not. Who knows?
So the only thing I could think that it would actually, if it would have kind of killed him in that something like that, is actually burn the air sacs in their lungs. So it's like they're just pulled apart pieces of meat already for them to easily just pick off of. And see, now we haven't hardly seen any of these zombies before eating that much of their victims, but now they were waiting for a cooked meal. That's the problem. Look at them go. Now it's good old cooked meals. See, they remember. You want to eat something like that? Bye, Judy. Bye, Tom.
Hey, we're eating chicken.
Tastes like chicken. How come everything tastes like chicken? They're asking about all the cars, but Cooper says forget it, it's about a mile. I mean, I already kind of mentioned some of the stuff, but why would they run that far away from civilization, off the beaten path, in rural houses, away from help, and passing how many houses along the way? I think there had to have been some other houses, because it seems like if he ran from where he was at a mile, there's got to have been other houses. It just doesn't make any sense. And then again, like I said before, they didn't lock the door when they went in there. Why wouldn't you, they went and barred themselves into the cellar, but why wouldn't you do that for the house, too? The other thing I was kind of thinking of is this is past footage of already organized efforts, recognizing them as ghouls and taking them out and still. How could Barbara and Johnny not have experienced any issues unless they passed it and didn't realize it? People standing out in the field and they were actually zombies or something. They're just having a nice, easy Sunday drive. You think they could have saw them and just didn't recognize it? Just ghouls out there standing out in the field and didn't realize it was zombies, ghouls.
Now they're all picking up.
Yeah, now we're back at doing the zombies using tools again after they haven't tried to attack anything, but now they turned into really dumb zombies, but now they're turning into ghouls that could use rocks and tools again.
Honestly, spoiler alert, honestly, they're all dead. They're using
So did they get a taste for meat now or something? I thought they'd be satisfied. They just ate some food. Geez, even Helen's helping better than him. He's absolutely worthless.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You want to stay up here now? Helen, get in the cellar. Get in the cellar now. Move!
Somebody do something! Yeah, he's dying. Okay, I gotta stop it right there. So, okay, Ben, even though he has some good strengths and leadership abilities, he never used them properly to resolve the issue with Cooper and how to deal with them should they come to the windows.
His real name is Harry.
Huh?
His real name is Harry.
Mr. Cooper?
Harry Cooper.
Yeah, okay. They should have had some kind of weapons to fight them through the windows to hit them in the head. No, this became a fight of egos over the gun and still think he didn't need to shoot Cooper because they needed all the help they can. His wife was in shock, but still didn't ask him, don't hurt my husband, don't shoot him or anything like that. So she didn't care if he got shot. She couldn't stand living with him and stuff anyways. But even with this cowardice level of ego only right, and Ben should have recognized this type of stuff. But after he punched him and did some of this stuff, he didn't really talk with him. He should have responded reacted with him and tried to figure out a way that they could communicate and work things out. Try to logically talk with him. I'm like, look, I know you might have a way of looking at this, but we all need to defend this the way we can, and this house, and if we need to, we can all run into there, but we need to do this first, figure out a way to do this. Even with some of these things happening, and they still could have done that. Defended the house and kept it. They could have started reinforcing, especially after he had to kick through the door to break it in. He did need to strengthen that up a bit because it won't even latch at this point. But he just winged him in the sort of the lower side flank and everything. And he shouldn't have died, especially that quick. Maybe eventually in a day or two he probably would have. But from where it looked like he was shot, he died up pretty quick. But yeah, I think that was a reality factor.
Reality factor.
All right.
Karen?
Why is she bothering with her at all? She already got a meal. you just gonna sit there? Okay, this turned into this movie Psycho. Don't even put your arms up. Oh, okay. There's this movie Psycho. This really reminds me of an Alfred Hitchcock movie scene right there. And not just walks up and tries to take a bite out of it on most zombies is that purpose. And even if that's okay if that's your end goal is to accomplish and could maybe use some tools, but this is a brutal, ritualistic kind of a killing, save for the worst kind of serial killer. I mean, it's just, she's in there munching on her dad. She's got a meal. I don't understand why she has to go do this stuff and just, just try to take a bite. It always seems like an instinctual thing. They did say it was a mutation. I don't know. The whole thing with the radiation. I mean, you look at all these other zombie movies, and this is like the one to sort of kind of kick the whole thing off. It's like, okay, are they zombies? They're doing an instinctual thing, trying to feed. Well, maybe not, because all of a sudden she turned into a psycho killer and is going to grab a garden tool and stab her to death with.
Killer.
So was that like a concerted effort because Johnny grabs her and pulls her back into the pool of zombies? These ghouls, zombies. And she was kind of upset that I think she did really realize that Johnny was dead. And now she's dead too. Okay, so what's the whole deal? After he shoots Cooper, he just sort of mulls around. He doesn't go try to help the other girls with the door. Does Ben feel guilty after shooting Cooper? Why does he just sit? He just sits there. He lets the zombie slowly comes in, but their daughter, Karen?
Yeah,
Karen?
Her name's Karen.
Okay, so the girl comes after brutally stabbing her mom. She doesn't eat the mom, but she has to come up and try to attack Ben, which she's got two corpses there to eat off of. Don't make no sense. But she comes up, doesn't grab a tool, something else to stab Ben with, but then tries to bite his arm after she didn't try to do that with the other ones. Okay, so, but still, Ben just mulls around. He doesn't try to do everything that he was trying so hard that he said it was so important for. He just stands around. Doesn't help try to keep the zombies from breaking through the doors and do that after Cooper gets shot. And then eventually he goes just down here. I don't know if he feels bad or guilty or what. But it's just, it all falls apart. He mismanaged things being the better leader of anybody. And that just really where it kind of goes on. But there's a whole other point. They should have ripped like the way that they reinforced the doors. Like the crown molding and stuff around the windows, they should have ripped that off. That isn't going to hold the boards on there very good. They should have been able to do some other things to nail them in better into like the studs. That could have possibly held, but they went into the crown molding and just kind of covered some stuff. They should have known better. But the way they mismanaged everything else, so why not mismanage the way that you actually build the house? Right? All right, let's get to this. We got the zombies coming in. Let's get them going. Coming in! Shoot! Shoot him right between the eyes.
That's Ben.
Huh?
That's Ben.
That's Ben. Oh, okay, there they are again.
Look, they're even using items to beat down the door.
Back to using tools. Can't realize if they're monkeys or not. gets so mad at Cooper after he starts coming back and shoots him multiple times like it's all his fault. Power's out and there's no windows in the cellar. How can he see anything at all?
How can she come back? She wasn't bitten.
She died, so that's just the ambient radiation that's around the planet, I guess. We don't know. She could have bit her. Took a little chunk of mommy with her while she's going to go try to bite Ben. Look at him. He seems a little concerned, like they're pounding on the door like they could possibly come in. But he doesn't try to go shore it up and like block them up, shore up the timbers like at an angle or up against the wall, crossways and some other stuff.
Now back
Like against
to
the
morning.
concrete wall straight back.
Back to the morning. Oh, the lovely morning.
We're going on a hunt.
The hunt for the zombies while I snuck.
All the rednecks is coming up now. Are you redneck? We're rednecks. Get him! I'd hunt him from helicopter. Would you hunt him from helicopter?
Yeah, with that machine gun.
Get up here. Nick, Tony, Steve, you want to get out in that field and build me a bonfire?
Okay, so I absolutely love this sheriff or chief or whatever he is. Seems to be the only one not panicking through this whole thing, and rightfully so. He's a good public official.
You, drag that out of here and throw it on the fire. Nothing down here? All right, go ahead down and give him a hand. Let's go check out that.
Well organized and assertive and...
All right, hit him in the head, right between the eyes. Good shot.
All right, so...
Let's go get him. That's another one for the fire.
All right, so what in the world is up with this whole final sequence? Ben comes up because he hears real people activity, shooting. He hears people shooting. That's not ghouls, okay? And so timidly comes up, and at a distance, he could hear them talking. Why isn't he, after realizing that there isn't any ghouls in the house to contend with, that he isn't shouting and jumping up and down, hollering out to them, saying, "I'm saved"?
I'm saved! I'm saved!
What were they waiting on the whole time was what they were waiting on the whole time was a rescue party. What else would he think it was and not respond? No, he slowly looks out the window and doesn't duck. I mean, he should have been hearing what they was talking about. When he realized the guys in the conversation is going to point a gun at him and didn't move and didn't say, "Don't shoot." It's ridiculous on their part. A bunch of trigger-happy hits. Doesn't identify their targets properly and killed a survivor. How many others did this happen to? How many other people did they kill? Like, there weren't ghouls like that. Do you think this happened several other times? Do you think it could have?
They weren't really all ghouls except for one.
Okay, he saw something in there. At a distance, he couldn't properly... They're just shooting. They just see another thing that's not part of their group. Another person he assumes is a ghoul. He's just looking out the window. It does... I mean, he just didn't... Now Ben got shot right between the eyes. More worried about the sport of killing these ghouls instead of a real purpose to protect and find survivors. I just think they got way crazy, and they have no way of knowing, because they could have killed other. Okay, as we're winding down here with Monkey Boy, we kind of call him Corvin, but yeah. Okay, so the way that Ben died, do you think other people could have been shot the same way? They were looking out the window or something like that. Do you think they would have shot other people? They were kind of shooting everything.
He was the only survivor, so I don't think that would be true.
No, I'm not talking about at that house there. Like the next house they came to, or this next house, or out in the next county over. This group of people were trying to find survivors, and they were shooting everybody like crazy. It's all ghoul. They're all ghoul. So, what's your take on everything? Let me get to this point here. So this all ended up being the biggest pointless waste. I did realize they kept pushing for the big bonfires and trying to cremate the bodies, but why? If they stopped the ghoul by destroying the brain, then the loved ones could have got back and had funerals and such for such tragic times. Because they just put everything in a mass grave crematorium and just burned up the bodies. But if the bodies have been shot in the head, they're stopped, they could have a funeral with them now. I don't know why they needed to burn them. But I want to hear your take. What was your take on this whole movie? These guys went into this farmhouse, started with Barbara. They went to put some stuff on a grave. Everything went to utter chaos, and they went into this farmhouse, and then none of them survived. They made a whole lot of mistakes. Then we have our issues with reality factors. What did you think about this show?
Honestly, I agree with you on the waste. That was so dumb. Why? On
the waste when they were burning the bodies?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense. Because when somebody dies, they want to be able to grieve, right? They want to have like a wake, they want to have a funeral, they want to say their final goodbyes. So that kind of sucks that they had to do it this way. It is sort of a pandemic, but after that, they go up real easy. You just shoot them in the head, and then they're stopped. They could have done that. So, okay. But my other question was, how do you feel just about the whole story in general? I mean, there's a whole bunch of reality factors we talked about, but what was your thought on the movie in general? These guys started with Barbara and Johnny, and Johnny didn't make it. Barbara ran off to this farmhouse. Other people were there at the farmhouse. Ben showed up. How do you think about the whole story? Was it crazy? What do you think about it?
I don't know, like kind of sci-fi-ish, but I don't really know how to describe it. But
did it just turn crazy all of a sudden? Like, yeah. Oh my gosh, there's zombies everywhere! We don't know where they came from. They just like come out of nowhere. I'm like, there's not even many people live in this town, but now we're surrounded by them. Okay, but what do you think about the reality factors?
They're also true.
They're also true. So a whole bunch of things were going on that we don't necessarily believe that would have happened that way. They should have handled things better. Do you think if they all could have worked better together?
Every time I'm yawning, I'm crying.
Is it that sad of a movie that they all died? They all died.
No.
Every single one of them. Nobody made it. Do you think they would have made it if they could have worked better together?
Yeah.
Do you think it was really bad they didn't get along at all, did they? They were always so much infighting, and they fought over the gun, they fought over who got to be the boss, they fought over what was going to happen, of boarding up the windows, where we're going to go, how we're going to handle it, that it ended up compromising all of them, right? What did you like about the movie?
The arguments. I don't know why. The arguments with Ben and
Cooper?
Yeah, or AKA Harry.
AKA Harry Cooper. So you did like them fighting? They were dramatic with their reality factors.
And make it more suspenseful.
Oh, okay. All right. So anything else you want to say about the show?
that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it? Okay, so what do you want to say about us moving forward with this YouTube channel? What do you want to say to everybody, all of our viewers out there?
Make sure to like, hit that red button, the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more videos.
Okay, so we're starting off this thing. We've got a lot of really good ideas, and we're really working on them. But you absolutely got to like and subscribe, and absolutely comment. We are still working out some things, and we have tons and tons of awesome ideas. So stay tuned and keep watching us. Keep commenting, like, and subscribe, doing all those good things, so that and support us.
And don't forget, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more videos.
Yep, we're going to work on a bunch of good things. We're working on how to really make some good ideas really pop. So you got to keep up with us. And we're going to work on our backgrounds. We're going to work on our ideas and how to present them and everything. So you got to stick with us, all right?
Yes. I will see you guys in the next video.
All right, he said it best.